Hello, investors and traders. It's Mark from Dynamite Stocks and Stock Pursuit. Let's jump right into some stock charts and some stocks that I'm still looking at and trading. I sound like a broken record, and I've been talking about these for months now. These charging stocks, these EV electric vehicle charging stocks, are hitting more lows this week. I started talking about these months ago. I think it was maybe 3 months ago or four. I don't know. I've been trading them a long time. I've been in and out of puts a lot over the past few months now, it seems like. And I still got these charge point puts. I've got the November 3s, and those are in the money now and starting to come around. And the blink ones are coming around too. I've got the November monthlies on those. I got the $2 strike. It's kind of like a way out of the money bet, but so far like these things just keep going down. So I was a little ambitious with the charge point to get the $3 strike because it was near 4 when I got them, but I was really confident in the setup. Like these are just making more lows now. Like the BL&K finally broke down, and they're kind of like no-brainers. When they break down, they're just like no-brainer setups here. And the main reason the only thing I can think of that they're so weak is that they're competing with Tesla. So if Tesla, one of the biggest EV makers, and they're not like the biggest in the world, but in the United States, if they decide that they want to put charging stations everywhere in the United States, I don't see what's going to stop them. If they can use their assets, and their money to get those contracts and stuff in the land. Like I don't know what's going to prevent that, but it seems like if you think about it, there's a lot of places where there could be charging stations, and there should be enough places for everybody, for all the competitors. But I don't know much about the regulations with that, and like how the property works and the brokers, and who gets to bid on the properties and how that stuff works. It's kind of specialized knowledge, I think, what goes on with the land and the actual property. But that's just the only thing I can think of, because it seems obvious that there's going to be more charging stations put up, in the future, and it just seems like the way that these charging stocks have been going down, other than Tesla, that these aren't going to have a chance. I mean, that's what it seems like. Maybe there is a possibility that Tesla has all the charging stations, or most of them, in big cities, but we'll see. Like I don't have an electric car, so I'm not really aware of what there is as far as options for stations now, but the revenue growth in these companies was really good for a long time. Like, well, the EVgo had really good revenue growth for past few years, maybe even farther back. But of course, that's when they were a small company. They're incrementally the revenue wasn't. It's not a lot of revenue. It's just growing fast. So, but this is like a total destruction of charts. EVgo was a $20 stock 3 years ago. Now it's a $2 stock. And as I'm kind of looking now at this long-term trend line, I'm looking at this one here. It tends to go down to that level and then come back up, and in the long-term scheme of things, the way it's heading, it's going to go down to like $1 or less. Because it's totally breaking down now again. Like it's been in a constant state of breakdown, for a couple of years now. But once it took out this last support level there, it's just I don't see what's technically I don't see what's going to stop it from hitting $1 or less. So I had to I had to I took profits in my I had some puts, the weeklies. I bought them like weeks out, weeks ago, and but last Friday they expired, so I had to lock that in, and it was like you know 100-200% gain at least. But I was really considering rolling it, but I knew I still have the charge point and the blink puts, so I figured safer just to lock in some profit. But I mean, these are still like I'm really tempted to just keep buying really deep out of the money puts. Because just the way they continue to act really weak, and now we've got the major indices and like the Russell going down too. It's kind of that puts a lot of weight on them too. So yeah, it's just one of the things like what the cliche is, like you keep going back to the well it works, or the well where the water is. So the drinking water's been in these puts and these charging stocks, and it just continues to come true here. And now they're pretty much trading in lockstep on as far as the breakdown goes. Like the BLNK was kind of slow. It consolidated a little bit and went sideways there, but looks like more lows are coming on these too. It's the way it's going. So I may just have to add some more puts. I may just go back in the BLNK just to have all three. So that's kind of what I noticed today. Even though a lot of things were weak today, they were very, like the BLNK was down 9%, almost 10% today. And the way it's like gapping down, it's just really bearish. So I still like those. I think it's still a good setup to buy the puts. Like I'll have to check those deep out of the money, like more long dated. And the JKS was another, like these solar stocks have been pretty good shorts, and the JKS had a nice gap down. I hit my gap down scan the other day on this day here, but it's at support now, so we'll see what it does here. If it breaks down, that could be a good short too. But they're down so much, you'd think eventually they would get some support, but just the way these smaller stock companies have been doing, they're just going down, with the Russell. And I noticed the banks were really weak today too. Like all the financials were weak. The XLF. I mean, you can try to be optimistic here, but this is a really bearish chart. I mean, it just broke down below a big level there. So we got continued breakdown. That support failed. So it's just in a constant breakdown now. It's making the highs are lower and the lows are lower, and the breakdowns are getting farther down. So it's a technical breakdown. And the next stop, I don't see why it's not going to head to like 31 and then 30. Looks like 30.50 or 30.40 is the next big level. Yeah, so yeah, there's some big levels there. That's a big support level right here, down here. And yeah, I think it's going to hit that based on what it's doing now. I mean, it's in this bottom channel. So that's the way these things have been going. Every time they go down to another channel, they just keep going down. So I'm really tempted to just buy puts on the ETF, or like FAZ calls or something, or maybe FAS puts just to try to get some decay and to capture some of the decay that naturally comes with the leverage vehicles. But I've kind of got my eye on these office REITs and the office and some of these regionals, like the regional banks. I've got the regional puts. I've got these KRE puts still, and I'm just looking at my holdings here. I've still got the Redfin puts, and those are up 80%. We got the Nokia puts and Ericsson puts. Just the news flow was really bad on those, and the market reacted negatively to that news. So the Ally Bank, one I've been talking about too, they had some news of layoffs. I'm curious how long ago that was, because if it was recent, that the reaction's been pretty bad to that news. Like, it's all about the reaction to the news. Like, the news doesn't really matter as much as the reaction, or the sustained reaction. So trying to find out when that news hit. Looks like they beat earnings. Yeah, this is crazy. Revenue is down. So that's what they beat earnings, but the revenue is down. Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at their earnings trend. It's been down. Like, you can see their earnings trend right there. It's just going down the past year. So looks like the reaction might have been off of the revenue miss or revenue decline. Well, it says revenue surprised. I'm seeing different things here. Well, anyway, I'm trying to find the news about the layoffs. I saw it in the local paper in the local news in Charlotte, North Carolina. Not sure when that was though. Well, I guess it's either way. If there was, it wasn't. The market didn't take it well. So it's kind of been doing like the it's following XLF here too, and it looks like it's coming down to 20, 21, 22 area. That's the next level. Yeah, look, it found it really well back there in December. This is 22.30. So it's like $1 left. Yeah, I kind of missed the boat on this one. Like, I was looking at it before the XLF was like really weak, just thinking about it. But I already had so many puts on. Like, I just feel, it just seems like being overweight puts is the thing to do, even though, you know, the market's been down so long. It seems like a rebound, you know, should come based on just being oversold, but the price action is just really bearish, and a lot of things that I look at, and let's see the home builders. The home builders were down for a bit too. And it really looks kind of oversold. Like, there's going to be bounces at some point. There could be a bounce coming. You just look at the percentage moves it has before it has a bounce or a flag. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of bounce coming. Because usually when the market's downtrending for so long that it's easy to get complacent. Like you get complacent with puts, and then it's a rip your face kind of short squeeze, and even if it doesn't follow through, these short squeezes can be nasty. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get one of those at some point this week. Like I might have to hedge some. I might have to hedge all these puts I've got. I do have some calls. Like I've got calls and shares and a lot of things that I like longer term. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of oversold bounce this week. Just from what I've seen. Yeah, so let's look at my office REITs. We got really weak again. My hunch is these are just going to keep going lower though. It's not going to, even if there is a bounce. Like I do have I have the CWK. I have CWK puts. And because it just came down off of that huge support level. And if I was paying attention today, like I didn't really trade today, but I would have put on some of these puts off those bear flag like BXP and VNO is really good. VNO, I mean these are all really good. I found ABR too. The ABR is another one. It's more mortgages though, but that was the clear bear flag. The dividend yield's like 15% or 14%, which sometimes with stocks like that, if it gets up that high, it's just not sustainable. It's kind of like a red flag sometimes that there could be a dividend cut. But I think, yeah, there's still a lot more coming for lows on these, throughout the rest of the year. And next year too. I just saw a news story in that local paper I was reading in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is a really big banking center. Actually, it's like a banking hub on the East Coast, next to New York. The one of the banks, it was Wells Fargo's. I think it was their flagship property, the big skyscraper. They're at risk of foreclosure. Like I think they're just gonna move somewhere else, move that somewhere else, or maybe just downsize because there's so much space in there. Like I think I can find the story here real quick. It's and Charlotte's a really good, really strong economy. It's one of the fastest growing cities. I want to say top 10, but for sure top 15 in the nation. So if they're closing skyscrapers down in a fast growing city, that's not good. Could be something like a trend there, or a start of a trend. Yeah, Wells Fargo Tower in Uptown Charlotte faces possible foreclosure. The bank is relocating its East Coast hub to other Uptown buildings, which will make the tower more than half empty. So and that tower's been there. Like I don't live in Charlotte now, but I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and yeah, that building's been there, about 30 years or so, and it's not a huge skyscraper, but it's kind of a smaller skyscraper, I would say. It's like I don't know if you even call it that, but it's pretty big. One of the biggest ones, and is relocating the East Coast hub to other buildings. And I assume they assume it's going to be half empty. I mean, I don't know. I only saw the headline. I can't really, it looks like it's behind a paywall or something, but That's oh yeah, here we go. The paywall. But yeah, so that's something I'm gonna keep an eye on. I mean, Charlotte should have their office space occupied because there's a lot of companies there. But that's one of the things I came across today. So not much else is cooking in these watch lists or these scans I did. I ran some more scans, like no supernovas or anything interesting like that. I went through some long bias scans, didn't see anything. I may go through some more later, but yeah, it looks like the market's really threatening just to keep coming down here. Even if we get a pop, it's acting really bearish. Yeah, I put the cons back on my watch list, and that's kind of was one of my favorite short ideas for months. Like I totally missed the last month or so of the move, but it's a brick and mortar. Well, I'm not sure if all their business is brick and mortar, but they do have a lot of brick and mortar stores, and it's like furnishings and furniture. So it's not doesn't go too well with XHB going down. And I was looking at Wayfair too, continuing weak, like really weak, like I was looking at that. Like I may just have to bite the bullet and buy puts on all this stuff. Cause like some of the things I was hoping for like a nice bear flag or something. Because it's really basically, it's really short term oversold. I mean, it's down like 3 months in a row without any really bounce. It's coming up on levels at about 30. Still got about 10 points. So let's just draw that line there. So this one's bearish. Zillow, it's just a mess. It even broke down below channel support. That's how weak it is. And Lowe's more, wow, Lowe's is coming right up on, Lowe's came right up on that support from springtime. And it's just gonna annihilate it too the last 2 months. And it's like a double top right there, could be. If it takes out this level here, it's definitely a top. It's got some levels, still got levels down to 170. It's got support to 170. It's where the institutions picked it up. So let's just draw that. And there's a level there. But yeah, if it takes out this level here, looks like it's going down to 176, 177 is the next level down. Yeah, about 177. Some of the other ones, these are other furniture companies, the Haverty's. It's another serious downtrend. It's kind of like Wayfair. It's got support at 25 roughly. Yeah, 25. Looks like it's going down there. It's gonna hit 25. It looks like. Hooker Furnishings, really weak too. Shocker. It's kind of picked up a new downtrend there. Uh, it's right on channel support there, and that's a really bearish chart too. Looks like it's got a lot more to come down too. Like it looks like 1450 or 1470 is the next big level. Well, let's get it 1479. So it looks like it's coming down to 1479. So that might actually be, that would be a good setup for puts, because I can go, I don't think they have liquid ones though. But anyway, that's a good one. Home Depot, it's pretty much the same as Lowe's. It's coming up on a level there. It's already really close to that, to the major level there. It's got to hold that. Yeah, there's lots of stuff. Serious downtrends. Let's look at shippers. I haven't looked at those in a while. Yeah, still weak. Well, yeah, it looks like they totally failed to break out off that channel break. Man, looking bad. Yeah, look at the GOGL. Yeah, I think yeah, those puts are gonna get wiped out. I'm gonna lose on those, but luckily I've done well on the charging stocks and these other, like that Supernova. Yeah, that Supernova GRTS, it's still going down too. And yeah, GRTS is that one I found at the top. Yeah, it looks like it's just gonna go straight down. Like, I don't think it's gonna have a. It doesn't look like it's gonna have a bear flag, but I think the puts on that one, it only had like the 250 strike, so I usually like to go out of the money because I get the short term direction pretty good. Well, I'm pretty consistent, I would say, with the short term movements. So, but that's like the technicals help so much with that. So, yeah, GLBS came down too. I mean, that was really the Supernova that I should have shorted, or another one I could have shorted, because I already was catching that GRTS. But this one looks good. I mean, looks like it already went down about halfway there, so a lot of times they get a bounce when they go about halfway through the move. And maybe that's something to do with Elliott wave or like but I usually see, about a 40-50% retracement. Somebody comes in to buy some more, whether or not they really hold or not. But that's what I've just seen in lots of charts over the years. So that's kind of maybe, I don't even know if that's like an Elliott wave thing, but probably is. But I don't use that stuff, but that's just one of the things that I found. And maybe it's the same thing, I don't know. But yeah, these are all pretty much wrecked. Yeah, I lost on the CEI calls too. Yeah, it's like the couple of calls I bought, it turned out pretty bad. But it's like the puts work. I just gotta keep doing more puts, Like I was trying to kind of find the best longs. I guess maybe as some with a hedge too, but there were good setups though. And maybe they work out, over months, but I took some losses on the CEI and the IMPP. Yeah, IMPP totally failed too. That was a huge failed signal. Well, actually, right now it's right on that trend support, so who knows? But looks like a pretty bad volume there, so I'm kind of done with those. Like, I'm not gonna try to find longs now. Well, I did buy the BKSY. It's probably one of the last ones I'll try for a while. It's I bought the calls for this one, 150 calls. Like I bought them way out, like January, because it didn't have the strike. The only 150 strike was in January. So this might be the last calls I do this year. if if the market just takes a dump here again. But the fact that I have these, till January, it's kind of more investment anyway. But it's a good setup, technically, and the fundamentals are really good, like I talked about. So, yeah, MYO, that was up again. Yeah, it looks like it really wants to hold there. Look at that. It's going to try to catch support there, because that's a bull flag right there. See that? The way it's consolidating is pretty flaggy. So we got a little bull flag on trend support there. It's going to try to catch support there again, because that's the trend support. So yeah, this and the APLT are some of the only other longs I have faith in, and the BKSY. But that's actually a long setup right there, if it breaks out of that. And I think I'm pretty much done with natural gas. It's just I think it really is easy for them to manipulate it lower. And I think oil, I'm just gonna wait for that to break out or decide what it's gonna do too. So those are the ones. Yeah, there's FFWM's down again too. Yeah, that hit the gap down scan like back there. And I think this one didn't have puts. I can't remember, but may have had puts. But I think I'm sure I would have been in them, or I'd be in them. But it looks like it's coming down. It's a financial, so it's like a bank, a smaller bank. So it's on its way down to 380 now. 375. 375 is the next level down. So that's a good short, really, too. But yeah, these financials really caught my eye today with the weakness, and just confirms my theory that these real estate and even regionals are gonna be weak for like another year or two. So I'll call it a wrap there. That's pretty much the gist of what I want to talk about. And be sure and subscribe to my YouTube and follow me on my Twitter X account, Stock Pursuit. And check out my blogs. I got the stockpursuit.com blog and dynamitestocks.com. I don't post a lot on Dynamite Stocks, and a whole lot on Stock Pursuit. Those are kind of big picture, kind of macro. I do macro on those and kind of sectors, and sometimes I do individual stocks. But my individual stock analysis I put on my Substack, and my Substack links on the website, Stock Pursuit. And my Substack is deep value stocks, so it's kind of the opposite of what I talk about here. It's just fundamentals, strictly fundamentals. But I mean, I do look at sector rotation too. Sometimes, like, I will incorporate sector rotation into that analysis. But that's pretty much as far as I'll go. The rest of it's just fundamentals. from I go bottom up on those. It's all bottom up. I just for my scans, for my stock screens. So I'll catch you next time.